Hi everyone. Something I haven't talked about before with this bike, that's battery. And I thought I'd do two things today. I'll have a bit of a quick chat about it, and then we'll go and do a range test. So I regularly ride from here in Somerville down to Stony Point and back, various routes, generally somewhere between 30 and 40 k's. And I thought today would be a good test to see how this bike goes in respect to the range with the battery. A couple of pointers. So the battery is actually in here. You have a key that unlocks it, and you have there's a little latch here that you open, and you just literally push that down. Hang on, to make sure that is unlocked. Yep. And there we go. Comes out nice and easy. A couple of points about the battery which I'm really pleased about. First off, it's a 700 watt hour. Compared to the one on my Scott, that's a 625 watt hour. I would suggest that I would probably get a little bit more efficiency out of that than this, and not because there's anything wrong with the battery. That's because of the fact that the motor is this is a 1000 watt motor. Mine's a 250 watt motor. So that's all to do with physics and basic use of the motor and so forth. So, but the whole purpose of this test is to show you just how far you can go on a battery like this. The other important point I want to make is that this battery is a Samsung battery. I've used lots of different camera gear and other equipment that uses Samsung batteries, and they've proven to be very reliable and very efficient, very long lasting. So yeah, the fact that they've got a Samsung battery in this bike is a good thing. And I am rapt about that. Some of the batteries in the past with earlier bikes, including one of the earlier Volition bikes, were battery packs that are made up of, I would say, they've been sort of, what's the right term? They've been made up basically in-house. And this is a far better way to go. Charging port is here. You can actually charge it on the bike. There's a charging point here, but I tend to take my batteries off my bikes. But the point is, you can if you want to. So you can, little rubber flap here, you open it and literally stick the charger in and charge. I personally prefer to take them off, and there's a little charging port here, and I'll take it in and charge it in-house. That's a personal preference, but there you go. Anyway, so the battery goes in here, and it can only go one way. There's a series of points here that connect up to, so this is the female connections with the male connected in there, and that goes down there like that, and you just click like that and it's done. The little latch literally latches. You then turn the key and that locks. An annoying thing, if you don't, when you go to when you've taken the battery out and you go to put it back in, always make sure, put your finger in and feel the locking pin is out, because if you haven't put the key in and unlock that locking pin, you'll be trying to put that battery in and it'll get really annoying. You think, what the friggin' hell's going on? It's simply the fact that you haven't driven the locking pin out with the key. So saying that, I think we'll go for a ride. It's very overcast, threatening, although apparently it's not going to rain until later. And I've just taken the jacket off because when I first came out it was around, 12, 13 degrees, but now it's up to 17. So I think it might have been get warm when I went for a ride. So anyway, we'll head off now. So because I'm doing a range test today, I am going to put this on level 2 and leave it there, because most of my riding is going to be out on the road with a little bit of scrub, and I really want to see how the battery goes at that level. And the reason I'm using number 2, it's sort of, I think it's a good efficient mode, somewhere between probably Echo and touring on the other bike. I just got to stop here for traffic. So, if you remember the other day when I was up at Red Hill, when I was doing the technical climbing, thank you, person let me through, and here we go, right now, right. So, if you remember up at Red Hill, I was doing the technical climbing. I had it on level 3, and I found that was the most optimum for that trip, and it was actually a sweet spot. I feel the same thing about level 2 here for just general touring. I could actually, to be honest with you, for most of the flat work, I could probably go down to 1. Yeah, I'll see how I go with that. So between 1 and 2, and by the end of the trip, you'll have a better idea of what it's like. So on this stretch of road, which is, it's not flat, there's a very small gradient, but I'm just on level 1, and I'm probably about mid-range on the gears. Here's a classic case where I have to go off-road a little bit. Uh-oh, I'm gonna have to go around here. Thank you. Thanks, guys. That's right, thank you. So what I've done, I've just clicked onto 0 on this tarmac track, and so I've got no motor assistance at all, and I've changed the gearing so I'm about the midpoint among the gear group, and it's quite rideable. Now there's a little bit of a rise here, and I'll just go up and over this. I'm going to leave it like this. I'm just curious. I'm doing 23, 22 kilometers an hour, then over the rise, and now back onto flat ground, back up to 25, change gears, and there you go. I'm actually maintaining 25 kilometers an hour without any power assistance on this flat tarmac. So again, I just thought something that you might be interested in. It's quite doable, and that way if you're going to do a long trip, you can get fitter and extend your battery life. Now we're onto a boardwalk. So we get to the end of the boardwalk here and we come out into the big Hastings Park. There's Western Port Bay. Looks like the tide's really well out. That's a pity. It's quite spectacular when you're coming along here. There's a bike path just down here. And just for the record, I'm still on setting 1. And for doing this sort of exploration and cruising, number 1 seems to be ideal. And if you find it a bit hard, put it up to level 2. I really doubt that you need any more than that. If you're reasonably fit. We hit the boardwalk, and here it is. And normally when the tide's in, quite often we have water all the way up to here, and the mangroves extend right out into the bay. So the boardwalk ends about here, or this section of the boardwalk, and you come up into a bit of a dirt trail, come down into the second part of the boardwalk. A bit of an incline here. I would be tempted to put it onto level 2 for this. Yeah, which I did, because it's a little bit steeper here. And you come around onto the trail. So I'm now out on the bitumen, heading towards Stony Point. So I've just turned off the road into this side road, and it's called Woolies Beach Reserve. Now here's a sandy bit and some roots. As you can see, the suspension is working really well, and here we are. This is the end of the trail here. We come back out through the gate here onto the bitumen. I think it's about half a k down to Stony Point. Better slow down to 60. Oh, hang on, I'm at 30. There we go. Sorry, temper the joke. I was down here at Stony Point yesterday. I rode my Scott down here. Well, actually, I lied. I didn't ride. I actually put it on the back of the car and brought it down here. It was very early in the morning. The sun was just coming up, and had to wait for about half an hour. And then the ferry arrived, and I hopped on the ferry, and I took a ferry ride across to Phillip Island to see Umbrella Glen. And yeah, that was good. I mean, there's something else you can do. This is going to be a test. I got a really severe headwind going home now. So I'm going to go on the side of the road and go along the rail line for a little while. 2 reasons, that's just more interesting to ride, but also that wind is so heavy. I think we'll leave here soon and get back onto the road. It's getting too gnarly. All chopped up and muddy and God knows what else. As you can see, this is really chopped up territory. But again, this bike is handling it like a champ. Ooh. There we go. And we are back. And we're actually coming into Crib Point. So I'm heading west out of Crib Point on this bike and walking track. As you would have seen on the screen at the moment, that's basically where your battery level is and the speed and the level I'm working at. Now, because of the headwind we got, although it's dropped off a bit, and I've gone back to 1, there are sections of when I'm riding, I had no choice, so I put it up to number 2. You see that hill up there in the distance? That's a very steep hill, and we're going to go up that. We're about 2 or 3 k's out from home, and this is the final hill. And we're at 40%, and just about to go up the hill. Here we go. So for me to go up this hill, I'm going to have to go into the lowest gear, or the easiest gear, and put this at about 2. Hang on, there we go. Right, here we go. Really steep here. The second easiest gear, level 2, and it's going up this hill like a piece of cake. The interesting thing about that is it's using less energy to go up this hill, obviously using the power settings and the gear, than on the flat trying to head along through a headwind, a really strong headwind. And we're home. Let's go and have a bit of a chat about this. So, that was an interesting ride. As you saw, we had about 27% left. What is interesting is that I noticed that once I got out of the wind and we did some easy riding, that started to go up again a bit, but that's the way these things tend to work. The other thing I want to make a comment about is that all batteries, doesn't matter whether it's one of these or the Scott or whatever, when you get down into the lower areas of the battery settings, they will decrease faster. So, to me that was a good ride. We did 40 k's, just a smidge over 40 k's. We had massive strong headwind and still about roughly 30% left. That's about what I expected. That was good, very good. and that was 2 hours of riding. So unless you're ultra fit, I would suggest that the battery in this bike, as long as you don't go berserk and use the high settings, will do you. You will wear out before you run out of battery. Oop, forgot to turn this off. End workout. There we go. I think I'll leave it at that. And the next video, I think I will do something about maintenance, what to look for, how to clean the bike, any sort of tips and tricks. So until next time, see you later.